So in case you're here for the unboxing and the overall Superior Labor stationery haul, I will leave a timestamp so you can jump forward to that part of the video. If you're interested in hearing about my overall experience at Kurashiki, then I invite you to grab yourself a drink, a snack, and maybe a journal or a planner to keep you company while we hang out and chat. My drink for today is just some warm water. I'm really trying to increase my water intake. And my snack of choice are these peanut butter filled pretzels that we get from Trader Joe's whenever we drive across the border. I'm going to be referencing my Hobonichi Techo, where I have laid out all of the things that we did while we were in Kurashiki. The night that we arrived, we had finished checking into our hotel and we were kind of wandering around the area. So in Kurashiki and where the Superior Labor is located, the original location, it's in something that's called the Beacon Historical Quarter. Please bear with me with my pronunciation. I'm probably pronouncing a lot of these things wrong. After we checked into our hotel, we ended up wandering into this teppanyaki because it was raining, we were cold, and we thought maybe we would stop in and grab a drink before we decided where to eat. They were so friendly in there. The previous owner was sitting at a table and noticed that we were having trouble deciding what to order for our drinks. So he came over and he ended up talking to us throughout our entire meal. He pulled out these little fish things and a portable grill and grilled them up and gave them to us for free. He also treated us to sake that we ended up drinking with him at our table, and he basically entertained us the whole time that we were there. This was such a wonderful introduction to Kurashiki. It just felt so different from Tokyo, which is very much a big city. For our first full day, we started out with a 5K run around the Beacon Historical Quarter and canal that runs through the city. It was so beautiful. There were some people there, but it wasn't like super crowded or anything like that, so it was very peaceful to run in the area. Superior Labor doesn't open until 10. And since we finished our run pretty early, we ended up having breakfast at this tea cafe that was very close to the actual Superior Labor. So it was this really cozy space. There was a beautiful courtyard garden to look at. And even though they didn't serve a lot of food, it seemed like they were affiliated with a bakery that was 2 doors down. And we learned that we could buy food at the bakery and bring it over to eat with our tea at the organic cafe. So I ended up getting a tea and I spent a bit of time journaling at their table while we waited for the Superior Labor to open. It was honestly such a wonderful way to start the day. Then we made our way over to the Superior Labor and oh my gosh, it is just as beautiful and stunning in person as it is in the photos. I knew I was going to love the Superior Labor. I wasn't expecting Mike to fall in love with it as well. Once we got there, he fell in love with the interior of the store and they were so patient. I never felt rushed. Admittedly, it wasn't that busy when I got there. The area where you work on the customization is on the second floor, and they also have all of their stamps that you can get while you're there. They also have photo albums of different examples of what other customers have gotten in the past. And I think they had about 6 photo albums for the standard size and 6 photo albums for the passport size. So me being me, I went through every single one of them and I took note of the samples that I really liked, and I used that to help inspire me to eventually decide what I wanted to customize mine with. What an amazing experience. We ended up stumbling upon this coffee roaster called GJG. If you are a coffee person, I highly recommend you go to GJG for a coffee. It is run by one person and he roasts his own coffee, and he doesn't sell it, so I think he just roasts his coffee for the coffee he makes. And it was the best coffee of our entire trip. So we ended up going there twice, and then for the rest of the trip, we compared every cup of coffee that we had to the one that we had at GJG. So highly, highly recommend you go there. I did save the sticker. This is a little sneak peek of my standard size customization, but this is the sticker, and this is what I ordered. So it's called GJG Espresso Store. Yes, so if you go there and you're a coffee person, definitely, definitely go to GJG. We walked to the TSL Store and Lab, which is a second location that TSL opened, I think quite recently. So it's a very different feeling store to the original TSL Kurashiki. The original is what you would have seen in photos with wood beams everywhere, William Morris wallpaper, which I was a huge fan of, and it's 2 levels, and I believe it's an old schoolhouse, so it just has a very arts and crafts kind of feel. Whereas the TSL Store and Lab is a much more modern place. So there's a main room where they have their retail, and then attached to the main retail room, there's another room where it looks like a workshop. It's very beautiful. We spent quite a bit of time there, and even though the staff member that was there were some language barriers between us, we both ended up grabbing our phones and basically had a conversation with our translate apps. So it was just a really wholesome conversation. And I didn't end up buying any of the larger items. I did look at one of the engineer bags, but it was out of my price range. So I ended up just buying a sticker. I can show you what it looks like. Yeah, so I ended up buying a little sticker. We wandered through the Kurashiki Ivy Square, and there's this open courtyard. Mike and I ended up sitting at a table in the shade. I pulled out my ebook and I read for about an hour, and I basically just sat there in the shade, taking a break from the sun, reading and taking in the atmosphere. That was one of my favorite memories because prior to that, we were in Tokyo and we were doing non-stop walking, and it was just as exciting for different reasons, but it felt very chaotic and relentless in terms of all the walking that we did. Whereas by contrast, we were suddenly in a different part of Japan, a much smaller city, a lot more peaceful and quiet, and then I was able to just sit and read and enjoy the atmosphere. So that was my experience in Kurashiki. Let me know if you have any questions. I also want to shout out Tiffany from Talksmot. She put together a series of Japan vlogs from her trip last year, and I must have watched her Kurashiki vlog so many times because I knew I was planning on going, but I really didn't know what to expect, and her video is what alerted me to realizing that there was more to Kurashiki than just TSL. That was one of the reasons why we decided to book a few nights and stay there. And the last thing that I'll say is it was much more affordable to book accommodations in Kurashiki compared to all the other cities that we visited. So if you have any other questions about our Kurashiki experience, let me know. Now I'm gonna jump back in time a little bit and we'll do a quick unboxing of all the goodies that I got at the Superior Labor. After that unboxing, I'll come back to share some final thoughts on the standard and the passport size because it's been a few weeks since I've been home and I have fully moved into both of these things. So I'll give you a quick tour of what they're looking like right now and how I'm using it. So this is the bag that I got when went to TSL Kurashiki. And let's take a look inside. So I will take everything out and then we'll go through what I picked up one by one. I'll start with the smaller things first and then I'll go through the star of the show. So I'm gonna move these to the side. I got these Traveler's Notebook inserts. So they had a passport size and they had a standard size. And I believe that these are cream paper. I'm not going to open it, but you can see from here that it's cream. And that is something I actually noticed about the majority of the limited edition inserts in Japan. A lot of them were cream paper on the inside, which was great for me because I actually prefer cream paper over white paper. And yeah, you can see this one as well is cream. The next thing I picked up was this engineer bag charm. I really love the Superior Labor's engineer bags, and I actually had kind of had in the back of my mind that I wanted to get an engineer bag while I was at the Superior Labor. Unfortunately, the one that I liked the most was way out of my budget, so this is the engineer bag that I ended up coming home with. I'm actually just going to move the camera down a bit. As a charm, I think I'm going to save it for when I get my actual engineer bag. Next I got a couple of patches. So this patch is actually for Mike, looks like. Interesting. Now that I'm looking at it up close, it's actually kind of hard to read, but this says, "We take pride in craftsmanship and never skimp," and then time and effort, and he picked this out. I really wanted to get a patch for him, so I might have forced him to pick something, but this is what he picked. And then I got this patch for myself. I was thinking about putting this patch on one of my custom TNs, but I didn't, so I ended up getting this patch, and I think I'm gonna put it on something else that I got on my trip. This is also something that Mike got. And it is this TSL Kurashiki cup. They actually had a similar brown cup from Traveler's Factory that I was very tempted to get, but we were reaching a point where we were starting to worry about whether we could bring everything home in the suitcases that we brought to Japan. So unfortunately I didn't get that cup, but I saw that cup at every Traveler's Factory, so if we do return to Japan and that cup is still there, I'll probably get it on our next trip, but I decided to leave it. So I think this cup is really nice. I didn't ask. I hope it's dishwasher friendly and that this won't fade if we use it in the dishwasher. I'll have to double check if it's a hand wash only. But if anyone else has gotten this cup before, let me know if it is dishwasher safe. Okay, let me just move this up. Okay, so I think I'm gonna start with my standard. That's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna start off with this one. So I haven't looked at this since picking it up in the store. When you do pick up the custom TNs, they do let you take a look at it before they pack it up. So I have seen this already, but I'm really excited to look at it again. So this is the Olive Traveler's Notebook. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, wow. Okay, I haven't looked at this since I got it, so this feels like a first look. Okay, let me move this out of the way. So it does come with this extra elastic, and I actually kind of like it, so I might switch it out. We'll see. Okay. Wow. Okay, so this is... I just realized this is out of frame. Okay, so this is my new Olive TN. It's amazing. When you go to TSL, they have something like 6 albums of examples of other TNs that they have customized to give you ideas. And I really fell in love with the multiple patch look on the outside. There was one patch that I had my heart set on, and it was an arts and crafts patch with a William Morris wallpaper design on the inside, and it was the yellow and green version. Unfortunately, they were completely sold out of that patch, so I didn't get it. Anyway, I picked the ones that I liked the most. I really liked how bright and colorful this patch was. So they had a few of these really bright and colorful style patches. I really wanted a superior labor specific one, and I thought this green looked beautiful with the olive. And they had a few different colorways of this I Love TSL handmade heart. And the person that was helping me ended up grabbing this colorway because it wasn't out on display, and I love my browns and neutral colors. It was really fun figuring out how I wanted to place these patches, and interestingly, because you'll see in a moment, I got something done over here. I did have to play around with this a little bit because they won't put a patch where stitching needs to happen. So just something to keep in mind. I was a little limited as to what I could put on this side because I wanted to have something added on the inside flap. So that's the cover. On the front flap, I added one of these brass tabs. I'm not sure what they're called. It's to help prevent this elastic from any marks that they can leave. So if you have a really full TN, sometimes the elastic can wear away at the sides a little bit. So I wanted to have this added on. I guess I could have added one onto this side as well, but honestly I didn't think of that. I hope I don't regret this decision, but I decided to add a pen loop to this side just because if I were to take this out with me, I thought it would be nice to have a space to at least have one pen with me. So I'm curious to see what might fit. Okay, so it looks like it actually fits my vanishing point, which is one of my wider pens. What else can I try? This is another pen that I would be likely to take with me. So it doesn't quite fit the cap, but I guess I could also use it like that. Yeah, so maybe in the future, if I had tried this, I could have maybe put this flap a little lower down. But I guess it would have maybe not worked with this. On the inside, I have this folder flap, and this is in the natural leather, so over time this should darken, which I'm really excited about. And I ended up getting a stamp on the inside, and they had a few different ones to pick from, but I picked this one because it looks like this person is running, and Mike and I did a lot of running on our trip together in Japan, so I thought this was really fitting. And then on this side, I got the credit card or the card folder. And let me see if I have a card. Okay, we'll do my library card. Yeah, so that fits in really nicely. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I don't plan on using this as a wallet, but it's nice to know that I have the option if I wanted to. So I'm really excited to move into this, thinking about either using this as my journal or my memory keeping. Okay, next up, we have my passport. So I'm also very, very excited about this one. I wasn't sure if I was going to go for a passport size. To be honest, the standard already felt quite indulgent, and I was planning on only getting the standard, but shout out to my partner. He very kindly gifted me the passport as well. I'm so grateful that he gifted me both of these things. Because I didn't have a plan to get a passport, I didn't even know what to get, so I'm extra appreciative that they had so many samples of other people's passports that you could look through, and then on top of that, the people who worked there also had their personal examples of what they had done with their passports. So my thought was that I would try to get something customized that I could use as a wallet, because that was always something that I had kind of wanted to do anyway. Originally, I was thinking that I would eventually get this passport customized at Baumkuchen. I do really love the fact that they work with your existing passports, and I really wish I could have gotten this customized instead of having to buy a brand new passport, but I respect their policy, and I did end up getting a new one. Thanks to all of the examples, and I spent a really long time figuring out what I wanted to do with this one. So I really haven't looked at it since we got it that day, so it's gonna feel like I'm looking at it for the first time. I'm very excited. Let's take a look. This one comes with a green spare elastic. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this because of the contrast, but we'll try it out. So this is what it looks like on the front. And this is what it looks like on the back. This is the camel, and this is the first camel that I have gotten that wasn't fuzzy on the outside. So I'm really interested to see how this ages. So this is also a camel passport, and this one was very fuzzy when I first got it. It felt like suede. This one, on the other hand, is smooth, kind of like all the other leather covers, except it's a lighter color. If I just grab this camel here, and this is a camel that I have babied, and it has never left my home, you can see that it's a little bit different as well. But this one's fuzzy, and this one is more smooth. So no big deal, because I know eventually it has the potential to turn into this when there's more wear and tear and when it starts to age. And I love how this looks. So I basically wanted to recreate what I've done with this one, but with my new custom TN. I think the thing that I'm the most excited about, and this could either drive me crazy in the future because it does pop out, is the fact that I added the charm as a closure. So this was something that was in a lot of the examples, but what a lot of the examples had was a leather string that was looped into this hole here, and then you would kind of loop it around here, if that makes sense. I didn't like that as much, and so as much as I loved the idea of having this loop, I wasn't sure if I was going to do it because I thought the only option was to have this leather pull. But actually, I think it's really cool that you can just use your elastic to loop around it. And the person who helped me design this showed me was in her wallet, she actually had a charm that was attached to this elastic, which allowed her to pull on the charm and then really easily open it up, because I was worried about whether it'd be like hard to open or close the wallet. Actually, it's not that hard even without a charm. So if something like a charm drives me crazy, it's good to know that it's not like that big of a deal. So I'm really excited about this. We'll see. I mean, I like my wallets to be really thin, so this might get annoying after a while, but I just think it's so unique, and I love the fact that I was able to integrate one of their charms directly onto the wallet. On the front here, I have this turtle patch. I also really, really loved this patch, and I was thinking about either using this patch on this TN or this TN, but just as I was playing around with this placement, I thought I preferred the turtle on this one. So that's what the outside looks like. And then on the inside, this is natural leather as well. I have this pocket here, and this is something that I will use for coins or anything else that is smaller and needs a home. And then over here I have a place where I can put cards. I had asked if it was possible to do like a 2-card holder, but they said it wasn't possible, and I think it wouldn't have fit 2 cards anyway if they had put a line in the middle. So I'm okay with just having this. And the other interesting thing with this passport is originally I had this on this side and I had this pocket on the outside, but we ended up swapping the order because I wanted to have this brass charm on the outside on the front, and they were saying that this would get in the way of this, and so they ended up recommending that I swap these two. I'm really grateful that they did that. So I think this is gorgeous, and I'm really excited, honestly, to put it to the test and see how much patina I can develop. This is so soft, and oh, it's just so gorgeous. Yeah, I haven't decided what charm I'm going to add to the bottom here, but I will update you in another video to show you. Okay, so these are my 2 new custom TNs. Let me know if you have any questions about my experience and any questions about anything you see here. Hopefully you enjoyed that unboxing. Since coming home from our trip, I have moved into both of the covers that I got from Superior Labor. I'll show you this one first. This is the camel passport, which I'm currently using as my wallet. So inside, I had originally planned on using this pouch for coins. I don't use a lot of coins though. The only time I really use cash is when I'm at the grocery store and I need either a loonie, which is $1, or a quarter for the shopping cart. So I didn't really think that was enough of a reason to use this entire pouch for coins because they do bulk up wallets. So instead, I use this for cards, and I found this to be really helpful because I do have quite a few cards that I reach for from time to time, and I think this is a much better way of using it. So that's what I'm doing with this pouch. The first insert I have is the monthly 2024 insert that I got at the beginning of the year, and eventually I plan on decorating this, but hasn't happened yet. And the second one is a blank notebook that has replaced my old blank notebook, which I completed on my Japan trip. And this one, I am mainly just using it as a catch-all notebook. Nothing too special in here, but if I'm out and I need a place to make notes, this is what I'll reach for. If I'm out somewhere and I want to collect a stamp, this is what I will use for that. In the back, I don't currently have anything in this flap. I did put a few cards in here at one point, maybe like my most used cards, but to be honest, this string does kind of get in the way a little bit, so I'm not sure if I would have put this in the front. I think originally I had this pouch in the back, and they actually recommended that I keep this flap in the back because I had this charm in the front, and in order to secure this charm, they have to use a pretty big piece of leather, which can get really bulky. And so their concern was that if that's in the back here, that's going to limit the use of this flap. So I appreciate that they recommended that. But in hindsight, this knot is still kind of in the way of this flap, so I'm not sure what I'm going to use this for. If you have any suggestions, let me know, but it worked out really well to have my cards in here, so I'm pretty happy with this setup. Go over this really quickly, but it's basically the same layout that I had for my trip because I truly loved it so much. So once again, this is my beautiful cover. I really love it so much. And I don't think I mentioned this in my unboxing, but the attention to detail of how they set this up is just amazing. Like, I was still noticing these things after I came home and after I'd been using it. My latest thing was noticing how they sewed on these patches instead of gluing them on, and they actually matched the thread to the patch itself. So this patch is green and they use this beautiful light green stitching, and then on this patch they used an orangey one. And then on this patch, you almost can't even see it because they sewed it so close to that edge there with that light brown stitching. So it's so beautiful. Inside my secretarial pocket, I have a bunch of stickers. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this in the unboxing, but this is the name of the person who actually made this cover for me. She was very kind to give me this card when I asked her for her name, so I'm probably going to keep this together with my beautiful notebook. I can't remember if I mentioned as well, but the first insert is the same insert that I had on my trip, and that's mainly because I'm still working on filling it up. I'm having this internal debate with myself on whether I want to try watercoloring some of these sketches. I made sure that all of these sketches were done with a waterproof ink, so I'm just a little bit on the fence about whether I'm going to color them in. And then I'm also going to add little bits of ephemera into it, so I will do a full flip through of this at some point in the future, but I'm also not rushing myself to finish this. When I am eventually finished this, I would replace this insert with another blank insert and use it as a sketchbook. In the middle here, I have my personal journal. I've been on the go a lot more lately than I usually am, so I've really enjoyed having this insert here with me so that I can write while I am out. It's just a gridded notebook, Tomoe River paper. It might be Sanzen, it might be its predecessor. It's really wonderful to write with, and it even has on the back a lot of the inks that I sampled at Bungu Box, which I think is really special. And this I won't really be showing online, but it's the place where I use all of my stickers. I've been getting in the habit of pre-decorating pages and using all those stickers that I haven't always been able to find a use for, or they're stickers that are really special to me and sometimes I'm afraid to use them. I've been using them in here because I keep all of my journals and I love to flip through them. So I think this is actually a perfect place to use precious stickers. And then in contrast, it's also a place where I use the almost like sticker discards, or the stickers that never seem to find a good use for, and so I've just been throwing them on these pages, and it hasn't bulked up too much. I don't know if you can tell, but this is like no writing and this is with stickers and writing, so I guess it has bulked up a bit, but it's not unmanageable. And then the third insert is my sticker release insert, and currently it's just a bunch of stickers that I've pre-cut, like PET tapes, and it's also stickers that I have collected on my trip, and when I get around to my memory keeping, I will be using these. And then the back here, I have a bunch of small things that I've been collecting since I've been home. I'll have a few things from Scriptus. At some point I'm planning on doing a recap of my Scriptus experience, but I'm just a bit backlogged, so I will talk about that in a future video. And then in the back here I have this card slot. I'm not sure what it's called. I'm just putting my bigger stickers in here. So some of the PET tapes that are just a little larger. So I've got a few in here, and here are some of the washi stickers that are already kiss cut, so I didn't really think they were necessary to put in my insert. Long term, I want to do some decorating here, and I also have this pencil board that I use as well. And it doesn't quite fit in the secretarial pocket, so that's why it's kind of floating in the back. That's my standard notebook. I've actually been bringing this around with me when I go out, and it's quite convenient to pull out and journal in. The more I use this size, the more I enjoy it because it fits really nicely on my lap. This is amazing. I love this. This is also amazing. I love this. That is everything that I had for you today. Let me know what you think of this format where I spend a bit of time talking about my experience. We do the haul and then we do a bit of a debrief at the end. I'm thinking about doing a few more Japan related videos. Next up, I think I'm going to talk about my traveler's factory experience. I also want to do a video on a very special Osaka day trip that we took while we were staying in Kyoto. If you have been to Japan, tell me about your experience. What were some of your key highlights? Did you get a chance to visit TSL and Kurashiki? And if you were able to get a custom cover, what was your experience like? Otherwise, if you're still here, thank you so much for sticking with me to the end of this video. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you soon in the next video. Bye!